They told me for years there was no money in podcasting. Well, they were all wrong.
Right.
Now, I got into, quote, life coaching back then because I thought it quite interesting through the massage and the personal training where the motivated people were. Why were some people much better than others? I got to work with some amazing coaches as a massage therapist. I worked with UNC women's soccer program. The most winningest coach in all of sports, period, was Anson Dorrance. I got to be around and flown to all their national championships for 4 years. Got to meet some amazing athletes, helped a couple of them get to the Olympics and win gold medals. It's mind-blowing. And the only difference with athletes and other people is the way they're thinking about what they're doing, the belief that they can accomplish it. So I got certified as a coach because I knew that that would help out my personal training clients. So I start using it. I went from a 20% success rate to up to a 50% success rate. Now, this was through this certification that wasn't so extensive, but it was good. They didn't have a lot of certifications back then.
How does that work? Like, how do you become a certified high performance life coach? Are you officially?
So this was just a normal certification back then. So I would go to online. I would go in person to do some classes. We'd have to bring in people. She would teach us about all the aspects of what coaching is, what coaching isn't. We're not therapists in any way when it came to like a psychologist or a clinical therapist that you're going to see. We ask questions and we help the client find the answer themselves by asking deeper questions so they can come up with better answers. That's it.
Okay.
So we ask better questions.
So are you licensed by like the state?
What? No. So in a certification, it's all over. It's there's no licensure. So when it's by state, it's usually a license in the state.
Okay.
There's no license for it. And there are a lot of people who are doing coaching who've never been even through a certification before.
Right.
So I at least had a background in a certification back then. Once my daughter was born, I realized that waking up at 5 o'clock and working till 8 o'clock at night, I wasn't going to be around. So I'm like, what can I do? And I decided to go into coaching full time. My wife was a high school teacher at the time. She didn't want to go back to the classroom. So I went and took another certification with the same instructor I first went through. She loved the teaching process as a high school teacher. So she really gravitated towards coaching very well. She got hired by this high-end, very well-known coach. We moved out to Santa Barbara, California, didn't know anyone, went out there. Talk about sticker shock when it came to prices out there. Learned a lot, learned how to make a lot of money. My wife wrote all the programs for him, made that coach in 1 year over $7 million for someone else. So we're like, why are we doing this for someone else? Let's do it for ourselves. We didn't feel like running our business out of California. Our family's on the East Coast. We've moved, we get in our cars, pack up, we make a week to 10-day vacation about it, had a great time. We're like, where do you want to live? Because you got a laptop, you can live anywhere. Thinking about Nashville, Tennessee, didn't want to go back to necessarily North Carolina, so we picked Florida. Came here, got to see the East Coast, wife didn't like it, saw the West Coast of Florida, fell in love with it, found a great school for our daughter, we set roots here. Started doing coaching full time at that point. We had a business, it's called Structured Freedom, because in your life, I believe you have to have structure to have freedom. Then while I was doing that, I got certified by a guy named Brendan Burchard. He's got a company that they produce a certification called the High Performance Academy. This is 10 times more intense than anything I've ever been through. It's you go for 5 days nonstop. It's an advanced certification. He's got a formula that you follow. There's structure to it. I liked it a lot. It was easy to follow with my background in 10 years of coaching already. And I'm like, there's something missing. I want to go a little bit deeper. So I added in hypnosis because I realized that the consciousness, what we're talking in right now, it's very limited, short-term memory, no emotions involved, very analytical. We're trying to figure things out. Subconscious does numerous things at one time. From your heart rate to your reflexes to your blood pressure, everything's done by that. All your emotions are stored there. And then in between there, you've got something that's called filters. Filters are from usually 0 to 10 years old. The religious background you have, how your parents viewed money, your influence from your friends and your family, all these things impact you, and you're just a sponge at that age. So you're absorbing all this information. And you've got to be like, so the way I look at, people call it money, I'm like internal value. I can go in a hypnosis session, have someone detach themselves emotionally from a traumatic event, recognize that the event still happened, but not have the emotional portion of it where, you know how people say they get triggered, their heart rate's elevated, they go into a panic attack. You can actually remove that through hypnosis. The thing is, the person has to want to be hypnotized for it to work.
Yeah, like I've seen like, you know, in high school when we graduated, or like before graduation, we had hypnotists come and, like, you know, on stage doing silly things with kids. 'Cause it's hilarious, and they're all professional hypnotists who do that. But, like, you know, they bring people on stage, and I remember Sean Cody is laughing, and he's like, "Get out! Like, you can't be hypnotized." No, it is a very real thing, and it's true. If you don't want to be hypnotized, you're not going to be hypnotized.
Sure. And again, what people think about hypnosis is you can't move around. You can actually lie under hypnosis better than you can like we are right now.
Huh? How does that work?
I'm not sure. It's just one of those things. Think about a 5 and a 10-year-old kid. They make up lies. They exaggerate. So our reality is actually in our brain. It's not what's around us. Our past is not really tangible.
Right.
It's just memories.
Yeah.
So each time we access a memory, we can actually alter it a little bit. And sometimes we do.
Right.
Like, we might not remember all the details, or someone might say something to us and it triggers another detail that maybe wasn't even there. So that's why they won't allow hypnosis to be used in courtrooms anymore with kids, because they can lie more under oath and they don't realize they're doing it. So I took like all this, created a program called the Mental Mechanics. And what I use is my background from the supplements I took, the exercise, understanding how the body moves, what movement does for the body, be it positive or negative. Realize that actually the most important thing is recovering. So not only did I go through cancer,